So I think it's kind of funny that I'm making a video on fear right now because what's been holding me back for years on making videos is afraid. I've been afraid of what will people think of me and what about all the crap behind me and this is the first time I've showered in 3 days. So like what if I can't shower before I want to make a video? All of these things are running through my head. And today, instead of letting fear control me, I am bringing fear with me. So I did a little meditation on my throat chakra. So just really allowing me to open up my communication and be able to let what I've been feeling about fear flow through me. So let's start with my basic fears. Meaning, what do I fear on a survival level? I guess that's not basic, but anyway, so I fear not being fed and not having a roof over my head and, being cold or not being able to feed my son. I fear a lot of other things too that I'm going to just talk about the things that I have been afraid of and actually done. And then I want to talk about all of the things I've been afraid of and haven't done. So what I have been afraid of is, first and foremost, I guess it was moving out to San Diego 5 years ago. I was like fresh out of college. I got this corporate job in Atlantic City doing exactly what I was, my degree was in, and I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. I didn't see the light of day. I worked like 8 to 10 hour days and then went to the gym and came home and ate shit food and then did the same thing over and over again. And I was miserable. And I was thinking, literally 3 months post college, like, is this what I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing? And no, I was not. I mean, like, really, I just made a decision that I wasn't going to do that. So I started Googling, like, sunniest places in the country. And San Diego came up. And so I did a little research, and I decided I'm moving to San Diego. Yeah, I had never been past Ohio. Yeah, my family thought I was crazy. But I did it. And I packed a bag, took my guitar that I still was waiting to learn how to play, and I got on a one-way ticket and flew to San Diego. And guess what? I'm still in San Diego. And that has been a bumpy road. Yeah, it's not been easy, obviously, but for me, it's like whatever has been the hardest in my life has been the most worth it. Whatever's been easy is just like, really, it wasn't even worth it. So I flew to San Diego. I met the people that I'm still working for now. They're amazing. They opened a hostel company. I lived in a hostel for 4 months. And I ran tours for them. I then, I went home for Christmas that year, and my parents were like, you need to get a corporate job, you need to get a better job. And, all of this pressure of, using your degree because you just went to school for 4 years. So they were right. I needed some experience. I wasn't able to, find a job that easily other than the hostel in San Diego because I didn't have any experience and I didn't know anybody other than the people I was working for. So I ended up moving back to Pennsylvania and I worked for Miller Coors, and really one of the most amazing corporations I've ever worked for. But again, I was back in Pennsylvania, which I did not want, and I was working a corporate job. And great, I was making amazing money, living in State College, having what everyone else thought would be the time of my life, like 24 years old, 22 years old, I don't even know. Time just Yeah, 22 years old, living in State College, working for Miller Coors Brewing Company, getting to drink whenever I wanted. Literally, my job was going to bars, nightclubs, and restaurants. Like, that was my job. And I had an amazing time. And after about a year, I was like, again, I felt this feeling like, why am I not happy? You know, I have everything everyone would need to be happy on paper, but I'm not happy. So again, what did I do? I started seeking out the part of the country that I knew I was allowed to really truly be myself, and that was San Diego. So I came out here and I visited, and you just knew it. Again, I wanted to be back in San Diego. So I made it happen again. Even though it was scary, I had this great job working for an amazing corporation. Like, honestly, one of the best. They treated me great. But I still wasn't happy. So what did I do? I started making some phone calls and realized my Rita's Italian Ice was opening up on the West Coast, and they were opening 100 branches, and they needed my help. And yes, this job was made through a connection I have with, my father running that store when I was growing up. So meeting them, they were like, yeah, great. Like, we need someone with your expertise to come in. And so they moved me back out to San Diego, and I was like ecstatic. And so I moved about a mile from the beach. I was so happy. Got this great job working in my dream place. And again, after about 9 months here, because this was a lot more pressure, I was holding a very high position where I was, wearing 15 different hats, doing, marketing and management, sales and training, all sorts of things. And so I again felt this feeling like, why am I not happy? Like, I'm in San Diego, I'm making good money, I'm living a mile from the beach, but again, I wasn't doing what it is I was passionate about. And I was, draining myself. I wasn't giving back. I was, again, working 8 to 10 hour days, going to the gym, and like never really seeing the day. The sun. And the reason I moved out here is the sun. I'm solar powered. I need the sun. So I was afraid. I was like, what the heck am I going to do? Like, this is all I've known. I've known, go to school, go to college, get a job. And that's, and now I'm like, why don't I take this money that I've saved the last 3 years and do something I'm passionate about? So I quit my job again. And I literally the next week I started my yoga teacher training. And this is a huge transition point in my life. I had been on anxiety medicine for probably 10 years. I had just started really, really understanding what it takes to eat a really quality, healthy diet. I was now, doing most of my shopping at the farmers markets and supporting local, but, all non-GMO organic food at this point. And so I started cleansing myself from the inside out. I went off all of my medication. I started doing breathing and meditation techniques, and then my yoga practice. I started doing yoga every single day, multiple times a day, because I didn't have anything else to occupy my time. So I wanted to really dive deep, and man, that was the best decision I ever made, because really within a couple weeks I had now just faced one of the biggest fears of all. One was going off my medication, which I've wanted to do at this point for 5 years, but never knew how. Two was like, I need a a corporate job to be able to like, make it work. But guess what? I quit and I started my yoga teacher training, and everyone said, well, you're never going to be able to make money doing yoga, enough money, right? And so it's just like, whatever, like I'm going to do it. And like that fear, if you feel it, it's like it's probably something you should be doing. It's like you're on the edge of something, and that fear is like, don't fall. And obviously, if it's a realistic situation, if you're on a cliff, like fear is holding you back, it's keeping you safe. But in this case, fear is keeping you safe. That's exactly what it's doing. It's just keeping you in the same place. And I was unhappy, and I was letting everyone else tell me what was going to make me happy. And so my yoga teacher training really just like, it pummeled me, like it took me to really, really dark places, but I needed it. I hadn't felt in years. Like I was starting to feel emotion like I never had before. I was starting to like really tap into the Ashley that I've just been like forgetting about for so long. I mean, I've been on autopilot my whole, high school, college, and post career, my life. Like I just was doing what everyone else told me to do. And I think that's normal that people fall into that. It's what is so pressured upon us that it's really hard to get out of that. So I'm really proud of myself that I took the leap. And really what fear, the opposite of fear is faith. It's having faith that what you are afraid to do is going to work out. So instead of saying things in your mind like, what if it doesn't work out? And what if I don't have enough money? Or what if I don't get a job? Or, whatever it is, start flipping those. Like, what if it does work out? What if I do have enough money? What if I get all of the jobs I want? And then things start really freaking happening. It's amazing. And it's called alignment. You're starting to align with like the true purpose of why you're here. And so a few other things that I've been afraid of, being a mom, man, like pregnancy for the first time, scary. There's just so much going on with your body. And to be honest, I was alone, and I put myself in that spot. I didn't reach out to anyone because I was afraid. And I don't know what I was afraid of. I was afraid of people judging me because I was a single mom. I was afraid of ridicule. I don't even know, but I didn't reach out to many people, and being a mom just frightened me. I'm like, how can I be a mom? Like, I'm still a kid. I haven't figured my shit out. I don't have a, like permanent job. I don't have, a house or a husband or any of these things, but guess what? I'm a fucking amazing mom. Like, I love being a mom, but it was the scariest thing ever at one point. And now that I'm doing it, it's like, this is the most natural thing ever. Like, I was made for this. So I just feel like our fears are good in a way, right? It gives us that like feeling in our stomachs where it's like it can, and then if we ignore it, can transpire into like actually physical like illness. But for me, it's always just been this like uncomfortable feeling in my gut, like, and this anxiety in my chest. What if I always used to be thinking that. And so I started to, just recently, I started to really stop myself when I start saying, what if, and start, what if this negative thing happens? I started flipping it completely over and just being like, what if it works out? And so, this 8-week Wild Awakening female mastermind class that I did has really just inspired me to follow my dreams in my career again. So I know there is so much that I have to offer, and so many things that I've been through that people can relate to. And so what I'm doing right now is I am building content for this new step in my life that I'm going to take. And I'm so freaking scared, but it's so freaking exciting. Now that I look at everything that fears me, everything that gives me anxiety and makes me feel all weird and uncomfortable, those are the things that I'm starting to do. When it's like, oh, there's a workshop. Last week there was a workshop on sexuality, and I'm like, I haven't talked about that in years, but I really feel like I want to go. And there were so many things like that kept coming up that was like, let me just put Ian to sleep and go to bed. But I made it happen. I went, and it was amazing. I was able to release a lot of things that I've been feeling. And again, I honestly don't believe that if I want to say, like, if I were to die tomorrow, that I've started to live a life that isn't in fear, that does everything that I'm fearful of, and it's not fearless, right? I'm not like bounding over this fear. I'm bringing that fear, like I'm taking it and I'm bringing it with me. Like, let's be friends. Because I know that you're never going to go away. I know that fear is built inside of me to keep me alive, right? And I'm totally okay with that now. So I want to ask you, if you could do anything in the world without being scared, what would it be? And start writing down your fears, right? Start the day with, if I weren't afraid, what would I would, and see what comes up.